Thanks.
That's for
All right, I will call this Grand County Commission meeting to order. It's September 2nd, 2025 at 4 p.m. Those present, Commissioner Hedin, Commissioner Hadler, Commissioner McCurdy, Commissioner McGann, Commissioner Martinez, Commissioner McCandless, and myself, Commissioner Winfield. And elected officials, our county attorney and Mr. Wojtek with our administrator also. And with that, we will stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will start this meeting off with citizens to be heard. We will start in the chamber and wait for Mr. Quinn when he gets back to see if we have anybody online. Do we have anybody that would like to start us off tonight? Mr. Gross, please step forward, identify yourself, give us.
no microphone here, so I assume at the podium.
That's totally fine, sir.
First, I want to apologize. I saw a bunch of you chewing when I came in. And if I had thought to bring it, if you were hungry, I would have been happy to bring you some snacks for my backpacking trip on the Wind Rivers. I had a bunch left over. So I have two questions. Realize that you can't answer them. It's for me to be heard, not for you to respond, but you all have my email, so feel free. Why are we proposing to spend $1,000 for the euphemistically named Public Lands Council that advocates for private use of public lands, often contrary to the public's interest? My first question. Second question is, why is the Grand County Commission proposing to replace or remove the interim planning and zoning administrator who does an outstanding job with someone less qualified for just the short term? I'd like to have an answer to both those questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Wait, I'm sorry, ma'am, I'll get you next.
Okay.
It was barely a tie.
My name's Dave Plosper, and most of you probably know what I'm probably here to speak about. I'm aware that the county has no jurisdiction really at this point over the Cave Creek project and what's now Echo Canyon. But I wanted to fill you in on some of what I've learned and the research I've done recently, and I just want the community to know what's going on from what I've learned. So the first thing is they've recorded a plat recently in the last couple of months, for a subdivision plat out there. It's approximately 11 acres, 14 parcels, 3 of which have already been sold. It's in the floodplain on a portion of the area that's already been filled. And as you all know, probably too, the developers their water rights are being challenged in court. And so if they do lose their water rights, it's unlikely they'll be able to complete the project or complete a single home. So to me, it seems a little odd that they're selling parcels where people may want to build a home in the future in a floodplain when culinary water and wastewater services may never be available. The second thing is, as you all know, back in June of this year, the Lieutenant Governor's office approved Echo Canyon based on a development plan provided by the developers. And if you look at the subdivision plat, compared to the 11 acres on the development plan that was approved by the Lieutenant Governor's office, it's entirely different. And so to me, that suggests that they're maybe going to be able to build whatever they want. And I checked with the Lieutenant Governor's office on this and asked them that. And they confirmed that nobody's going to be watching what they do, comparing it to what was approved. So they can essentially build whatever they want, it sounds like. So, if I was to speculate worst case, I mean, I could see high-rise hotels and condominium buildings going up in the floodplain. They have actually set their building height limit to 80 feet for Echo Canyon, which is 35 feet higher than the county's 45 feet. So that's basically what I wanted to share. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Saxon Chart, Grand County, Spanish Valley, Grand County. Thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. I want to say that I support Kristen Hoffheim continuing as planning and zoning administrator until a permanent administrator is hired. Here's why. You as county commissioners will be making a critical administrative decision in the next few weeks to approve or deny a conditional use permit for Moab City to place a very large water tank at the four-way stop at Spanish Valley Drive, Spanish Trail Road. The idea was originally the brainstorm 10 years ago of Rebecca Davidson, who was the city administrator at that time. So far, there's nothing posted about the project on the county website, although signs state that a public hearing will be held September 8th for the Planning Commission and September 16th for the County Commission. So you'll be making a critical administrative decision very soon on that. Ms. Hoffheim has been doing an excellent job in a difficult situation. She has the experience and legal and institutional knowledge to help you all make a solid legal decision that follows state and county codes. I'm assuming that planning, even understaffed as it is, has complied with Section 9 of the Grant County Land Use Code. First being, prior to filling a conditional use permit application, the applicant, which would be Moab City, shall meet with the zoning administrator or his or her designated agent. Secondly, the zoning administrator shall distribute the completed conditional use application to 7 different people or departments, and that's spelled out in the code. So I hope that's happened. Next, Grant County Planning and Commission should determine if there are reasonably anticipated detrimental effects of the proposed use and established conditions to mitigate these effects. These detrimental effects can include the effect on the environment, compatibility with the surrounding area, minimizing infrastructure impacts. It needs to be consistent with the land use code and general plan. So you'll also need to factor in the requirements of Senate Bill 110 that requires Grand County to integrate a water use and preservation element into its general plan. Therefore, zoning changes and conditional use permits should be tied to water demand and conservation. The water to fill this proposed, okay, I'm good. To fill the tank is 2 million gallons, and it will come from the Glen Canyon Aquifer. So your decision will set a precedent for conditional uses in the county. Your decision will be a statement on your views about how the county should look and develop. And your decision will be your legacy on what this everlasting decision is to be. And I believe that the information and support from staff like Ms. Hoffheim will serve us all well. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the chambers? Yes, sir.
Hello, Commission. I wrote this out so I wouldn't get off on tangents. My name is Michael Wolf. I've been a resident of Grant County for almost 20 years, also having lived in San Juan County for as far back as 40 years. I'm a retired archaeologist, river guide, having worked in the private tourism industry, energy sector, and also various federal land managing agencies. I've been around for a while and I've seen the various boom and bust cycles in our local economy. I know each of you are concerned with our local economy, which is highly dependent on ongoing tourism. I'll start out on a positive note and thank the county for maintaining our Geyser Pass Road to the winter parking trailhead. Yay. Many new folks are coming to recreate in our mountains in the winter, which is a good thing. When I start looking at all the sub-departments that fall under the umbrella of the Grand County Commission, I am blown away by all the various things you commissioners are responsible for looking over while ensuring that tax revenue is well spent and keeping in mind the needs of our citizens. You have a huge responsibility. Anyway, the reason I'm here commenting today is I'm starting to be very concerned with recent actions by the council and have been forced to pay more attention to commission meetings. I wish I didn't have to spend so much time watching over you guys, but things jump out to me that just don't seem right. To start with, in recent months, this new council has been treating employees and citizen volunteers to committees has not been treating employees and citizen volunteers to committees with respect and gratitude they deserve. The recent agenda item that aims to remove Kristen Hoffline from her acting role as interim zoning administrator begs questions of why. No reason has been given. Everyone who works with her in this challenging role has nothing but good praise for her professionalism and work ethic. So why are certain commissioners trying to remove her when very soon there will be a process to hire in a new person in a permanent position for the job? She was not given the professional courtesy or notification of this proposed action of replacing her. This is not the way to treat people, nor is it in line with normal county procedures. It's hard to see why you're trying to get rid of her. This also happened with other county employees. Seems like certain members of the council have a history of running off good employees, especially women. All I can guess is that this is due to personal reasons or vendettas against a person, or if you don't like their friends. I'm starting to see a pattern here. That is, if certain commissioners feel threatened or don't like someone who doesn't agree with their personal agenda, they just try to get rid of someone. This is childish. Tourism is down a bit right now. Many factors determine oh my God, almost done. Tourism is down now, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think the commission should look at the federal government and what's going on in Washington, because those executive orders are having huge impacts on Grand County residents, such as defunding our public land agencies, Social Security, causing people to drive to Junction. And ICE is already in Farmington and Durango. It's a matter of time. They're going to come here. What will you do when half the restaurant and hotel employees are all hauled off? People are very scared right now. It's not right. So instead of being concerned about pissing off Mike Lee, you need to piss him off. You need to write letters to the county, to our representatives in Washington and let them know to push back. There you go.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anybody else in the chambers? Anybody online, Quinn?
Nope.
All right. Seeing none, we will move on to a presentation by Larson's regarding our 2024 independent audits, external audit of our Grand County.
Give me the mic.
At one word, you can sit here because these overhead pick up actually better than the stick ones.
Okay. I know you guys have a long meeting, so I won't take a lot of time. Just wanted to get before the whole council, this commission. We've already met with the finance committee and kind of went in detail over the financial statements and our audit and how it all ended up. So I just wanted to just express our opinions, what we're giving opinions on, what we're not giving opinions on. And then any findings related to our audit work. If you have a hard copy, we're going to start to the bound copy. We'll just start with page 1. This is our audit opinion, audit report. Always the first document in your financial statements, and the first section is our opinion on the financial statements. This is the scope of primarily what our audit is on your financial statements. In the second paragraph, it outlines our opinion. It's an unmodified or unqualified opinion. I know it doesn't use those two words, but if I read that paragraph, it's kind of very accountant geek talk. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to a lot of people, so we just say unmodified or unqualified. That's a clean opinion. The third paragraph just outlines the component units that we did not audit. So because we did not audit them, we're not giving an opinion on their financial statements. Their own auditors are giving those opinions. And so we have to get those financial statements with the auditor's report so we can then rely on those other auditors. There's information that we have to get from those other auditors to make sure that they're performing their audit in accordance with government auditing standards and generally accepted auditing practices. So you can see the percentages there of component units and what they make and the percents they make up of the discretely presented component units. And then also Thompson Special Service District and the transportation districts were not audited. They received agreed upon procedures or they had to turn in a financial survey. However, their balances are so immaterial to the discrete component units that we scope those out of our opinion. Let's see. The sections that do not fall under our opinion, immediately following the audit report is a section called the management's discussion and analysis. And immediately following the notes to the financial statements, there's a section called required supplementary information. Those two sections are required to be with the financial statements, but the Governmental Accounting Standards Board do not consider them part of the basic financial statements. Therefore, they don't fall under our opinion, so they're considered unaudited sections. However, all of the financial information in there ties back to the financial statements. If you don't like getting down in the weeds of the numbers and doing financial analysis and things like that, if you want to see more comparative data, then a good place to read is the management's discussion and analysis. If you're used to looking at private company financial statements, a lot of times they'll have comparative years. So they'll present the current year and then they present the first immediate preceding year. The way governmental financial statements are set up, and because you're dealing with a number of funds, there's not enough room to do comparative statements. That's why we have the management's discussion analysis. So that's where you find the comparative data to the prior period. And then supplementary information, which would be the non-major fund details. And then your single audit, that's considered supplementary information. That always follows the opinion on the financial statements. All right, so now we're going to flip to the back. We're going to flip to page 79. Next report that we're required to issue just outlines if we performed your audit in accordance with government auditing standards. Part of that test, those requirements state that we have to look at your internal controls, A, to make sure you have controls in place, and B, that they're actually functioning the way they should. If we find material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, we have to identify them as part of this report. However, we found none. So we're going to move on to the next report. Page 81. So this report is required by the state auditor. So there are certain aspects of Utah State Code that he requires. They require us to look at, I guess I should say a sheet now, each year. So these, sometimes they're similar, sometimes they change. We wait for the compliance guide to come out each year to make sure that we know what we need to test. Our opinion is an unmodified or unqualified opinion, and that is on your compliance as well as the control over the compliance. So the difference being, we have to make sure that A, you're in compliance with all of those sections you can see outlined there. B, that you have the controls in place to make sure that you maintain that compliance. So it's two different parts of that opinion. The caveat to this opinion is it's not an opinion on the entirety of Utah State Code. It's very specific to the outlined areas, and it's also not a legal opinion. We're not attorneys, and it's frustrating to me that a lot of people refer to the compliance guide as the legal compliance guide. It's not. We're not attorneys. We're not legal. We're not getting a legal opinion. That's why you have an attorney. So just with that caveat, it's also an unmodified or unqualified opinion. There were a couple of small findings that we'll talk about. But first, let's turn to page 83. This report is required by the federal government. If you spend $750,000 more in federal money during the period, you're required to have a separate single audit. A lot of people know it by the uniform guidance. It used to be called 1B133. What we're looking at here is your compliance with any federal grant. So every grant that you receive comes with its own conditions and compliance requirements. It could be what's allowable, what's not allowable. It could be the period of time that you have to spend that money. If you're purchasing equipment, are you tracking that equipment? Because if you sell that, becomes program income. So each grant, we have to look up what the compliance requirements are. And we're also looking at your controls, once again, over that compliance to make sure that you have the controls in place to make sure that non-compliance doesn't happen. That's also an unmodified or an unqualified opinion. You want to look at page 85. Those are all of the federal awards that you spent during the period. That may not be all of the grants that you receive, but that's the money that you spent. So the single audit is driven by the money you spend, not necessarily by the money that you receive. Let's see, so page 87. So this also gets submitted to the federal government, and this is kind of a summary of both the financial statement audit as well as the single audit. The first section relates primarily to your financial statement audit. There were no material weaknesses identified, no significant deficiencies, and no areas of non-compliance that were required to report. The federal single audit, there were no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, and no audit findings that were required to be disclosed. And the major program that we tested this year was the airport improvement program, and you can see on the schedule of award, that was the majority of the federal money that you spent, so that became almost by default the major program this year. And then that last line, everybody kind of gets hung up on whether or not you qualify to be low risk or not low risk. If you're not low risk, it doesn't mean you're high risk. It just, that statement right there tells us, it kind of drives our audit. We have to test more if you're not low risk. How you become low risk is to have timely filed audits in the previous 2 years and no federal reward findings and no material weakness findings on your financial statement. So that's how you become low risk. And the county is in a low risk situation currently. All right, so a couple of the findings. We review these with the finance committee as well. The first one was budgetary compliance. There were a few departments in the general fund as well as a few funds that were out of compliance. Just for your information, inside the general fund, state code requires that each department itself maintains budget integrity. And then every other fund outside the general fund has to be within budget in the entirety. So it kind of breaks it down farther inside your general fund because you have so many departments. Every other fund has to be by fund. Not a huge concern. We see budget findings all the time. Our recommendation is not only Gabe's office, but you as a commission group should be getting reports on a monthly or quarterly basis that has the actual results and then budget next to it. So you can kind of see, okay, these are the areas where we're getting close to running over budget. Do we need to make some adjustments, take some money from here to move it here to maintain your budget integrity, or do you need to amend the budget? And that should be done throughout the year. I'm not saying open a public meeting and amend your budget every month. That would be horrendous and a headache for you guys. Black and white says you can't spend $1 unless you budgeted for it. Reality is most people are gonna probably go over in a department and they're under in another department. So at the end of the year, they're gonna amend the budget and make sure that everything's in line. What we're concerned with is those budget amendments take place. And so at the end of the period, you're within the budgeted appropriations. The next finding is the deficit fund balance. The debt service billing authority fund actually went into a deficit position this year. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have a deficit. That happens. What state code requires is that you eradicate that deficit by either 5% of the revenue that fund generates or in the entirety. So what we expect to see is in your subsequent budget, so the 2025 budget, if you amend that, you need to put a line item in there to either reduce it by 5% of the revenue or eradicate that deficit. You can just show a line item called deficit reduction. And then when that translates into actual numbers in your actual books, if you have budget integrity within that fund, that will translate into a net income, which would decrease that fund balance or get rid of it. Okay, any questions for me?
Shorter than before.
Anybody?
No, I don't have anything. I think we took care of all that in the audit committee meeting.
Yeah, and I should have reported that we went over this at length in the audit committee report or meeting, and that you had done a very good job already. This is really for the public. Gabe, if you got anything you want to weigh in.
I just wanted to say for the public's sake too, if they're interested in the budgetary compliance findings, I did my best to take care to provide as much detail as possible in the management response section, just to fully explain. You know, not here to make excuses, but just to explain what happened, just so it's just well understood. I just want to point that out.
I will tell the commission that Gabe's responses to the findings are probably two of the most thorough responses that we've ever had from any of our clients. So we appreciate that. We appreciate that Gabe took it seriously and then he gave a thorough and honest response. And we also appreciate meeting with the finance committee. I think it went very well this year. I think having you guys review the audited financial statements, or at least the financial statements, that's a big help to us. There's, you know, and then having Karen involved, I think she has good information and the way she wanted things worded. Because ultimately they're your financial statements and we want them to be presented the way that you guys want to present it. So, thanks.
Yep, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks, John. Thanks for traveling.
Yeah.
All right,
Here.
we will move on then to the Grand Center and Loretta Eastwood, Yordi. Glad to have you up.
Okay, please bear with me. I'm not a good IT person. My name is Lorette. Most people call me Yordi. I work at the Grand Center. This year I thought for my presentation, I would kind of go over some of the resources and entertainment and stuff like that that we provide to our aging population.
Wait, Jordy, do you want to share your screen or are we not?
Can you share?
Oh,
Okay, what'd I do? Supposed to come into Zoom meeting. And I'm supposed to put
share
share
screen.
screen.
Yeah.
Next slide, Sean. My share.
Get close.
On the wrong screen. During something. Next. Yeah. Well, it's considerably. Yeah, a monster. No. This is my coach. There we go. Now, let's do that. Now let's go back. Back to. No. Which card did you show? I showed. WIE. It's 213.
And I'm
There we go.
really good with technology.
There.
So we have what we call Coffee and Tea Tuesday, and it has become a great program for education and resources. We have had some great organizations that have collaborated with us in helping the seniors. This is the first year we have networked with the Utah Legal Services, Utah Legal Aid, and they have come down twice this year. They have done a presentation and then they've had one-on-one consultations with our seniors that needed legal advice. VA benefits came down and helped with some of the seniors who had served, and those wives, widows of some of the seniors had served. Most of the ladies did not know they were entitled to those benefits through the VA. The information they imparted was invaluable to some of our seniors. Raven with the Alzheimer's Association has been down several times. Raven helped start a caregiver support group for those caring for husbands, wives, and friends with dementia. Raven also comes down regularly and does classes on dementia. We have teamed up with Southeastern Utah Health Department to have presentations on heart health. They even handed out blood pressure cuffs to some of them, those who needed them. They've also talked about suicide prevention, which is a real thing about the senior population. The Yellow Dot program and Vial for Life. The health department also does a Boo Flu clinic in October, and that's open to the public. Moab Regional Hospital's nutritionist and a Vista volunteer have each given presentations about nutrition. The Moab Police Department has been in to talk about safety, and they have also answered questions. Wes Smith with Utah Assisted Technology has been down, and they presented and what they can offer. These are just a few of the resources that we have done. We also have a loan bank at the senior center. I don't know if everybody's aware of that, but we have wheelchairs, walkers, other durable medical equipment that has been donated to the center, and then we loan it out to people, sometimes just for a weekend, sometimes for months. We have also have a lot of briefs, both men and women, and they don't get donated and then they're given out to those in our community that need them. We hosted the Wabasabi's annual community Thanksgiving. This is the first time I'd ever worked this event, and I was amazed at the number of seniors who took advantage of the dinner and socialization. We have, I missed that. As we came into the holiday season, the activities kicked into high gear. The seniors helped decorate trees at the senior center throughout the building. They also helped with our second annual float in the light parade. It is so much fun to see our home delivery drivers, Jenny's ideas and talents come alive and go into a great float. She's already got the next one planned. So we enjoyed either our second or third annual cookie exchange. A group of our seniors entertained at the care center at Rockbridge Senior Housing with Christmas carols. Talking about music and entertainment, we were privileged to be the recipient of a concert from Moab Music Fest, The Sopranos. Deanna Raywick from the New York Metropolitan Opera and Amy Owens from the Santa Fe Opera. These were two lovely ladies, and their music was just so beautiful it brought tears to people's eyes. It was one of the few times that I can remember that the seniors were silent and they just enjoyed the music. Our Christmas wish tree was a great success. It is fun to see the recipients' joy at their gifts. We also had a lovely Christmas tea, which we had I can't see that because I can't. Crackers. We had the English crackers. That was a lot of fun. And our Christmas dinner was another great success. Bryce from Wabasabi was playing the saxophone. The food and fun atmosphere was exceptional. The new year brought another great concert sponsored by the Moab Music Fest. The fun group of 4 young gentlemen called W4. It's a chamber ensemble. We have been so lucky to be recipients of Moab Music Fest generosity. They gave 20 free tickets out to seniors for at least 4 or 5 concerts last year. This year they gave 30 free tickets for all 5 concerts. So it was great fun. Our Council on Aging Chair, Karen Ferry, works with Moab Music Fest, and she's our liaison, so she gets us lots of stuff. She's also a great advocate for senior housing in the community, which is so much needed. Other talents who have shared their love of music with us are our own Ginger Clark. She is such a treasure. John Holland, Mike Duncan, Dave Arneson and his son-in-law have all dropped in to play a few times this year. The Prairie Dogs played our chili cook-off. Each year the first graders come and sing for Valentine's Day. Also their Valley Voices treat us to their music. You're the best, the band back there. We worked with CERTA and Aging Services out of Price to purchase a new handicap accessible van. Thank you all for your help in this matter. The Area Agency of Aging in Price offers so much help with our nutrition program, our socialization, and other programs for our homebound seniors. Now we come to food and its importance in our life. We had our third annual chili cook-off. We have some great cooks at the senior center. They have also contributed to a soup symposium and a pie social. Numerous picnics and potlucks, some at parks, some in seniors' backyards. It was always great fun. We are really getting into our teas. My favorite. With a Christmas tea and a Mother's Day tea, and we hope to do a fall tree tea. Chris has been very active, and Chris is the facility coordinator, in exploring different days. I didn't know there were different days, but she found Red Licorice Day, Pie Day, Root Beer Float Day, Bubblegum Day, and the seniors seem to really enjoy that. This year, we also did a pet contest, and we had some really great entries. Though it seemed like cats were our biggest category. Moab Senior Games has also worked with us and sponsored a trip to Hole in the Rock with a great lunch served by Spitfire Grill. Moab Senior Games cookout and cornhole tournament was so much fun last year. And we have one planned for the end of this month. We try and have a monthly craft day and have some artists that utilize the craft room twice a week. Some of our seniors also had a craft fair just for the seniors at lunch. Other resources we have is the Senior Health Insurance Program, where we offer help with Medicare, Part D, which is your drug plan, some Medicaid, I'm not very good at it, but I'm learning, and some cost sharing programs. We do yearly trainings to keep us up with the changes in Medicare. We also try and keep our seniors aware of new scams and stuff. And this year, I think we've worked better with Adult Protective Services than I can ever remember. We've worked on several cases together, and we have one right now that we're working on. So it's been really great to have as a resource. We do have some future trips planned. I plan to a trip to Heber and a ride on the Heber Creeper in October. The Avalon Theater in Grand Junction for a Cirque Musica Holiday Wonderland show. We put our Santa Fe trip off until spring. And we also offer monthly shopping trips to Grand Junction, which are well attended. I am very proud of the senior center and its staff. The work we do with our seniors and our community are of great value. Thank you for your continued support. Can I answer any questions?
We appreciate all you do over there, Yordi, for sure. It's not an easy job. Anybody? Questions?
Thank you.
Comments? Yeah, we really appreciate all you do down there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Yordi.
Thanks, Quinn.
Okay. Okay, the next one will be the Children's Justice Center. Andrea Noyes.
You're here, tough act to follow. You do such a good job over there, girlfriend. Keep it up. I also might need some kind of assistance. Can you guys see that or no?
Not yet.
Okay, I really might need technical assistance.
You're dumb with luck, I got Yordi's to work, so.
Make this go to its own tab. Drag that tab out, so it's like it's on. There you go. Now make that go slideshow. Now go back to. So. Right there. So now select, yeah, let's see what that was. Okay, now she.
Okay, thank you. You guys for having me here tonight to present on behalf of the Children's Justice Center. I know you've seen me a lot, so I will try to keep this quick. Our mission is to protect the children, support families, collaborate with partners, promote healing, advocate for justice, and strengthen our community. If you hear me refer to we, it's just easier for me. I am a crew of one. So at the Children's Justice Center this year, we've increased our caseload by 58.62% of the number of kiddos that we've seen just from January until August. As you can recall from my last year presenting, when I took over in 2023, we had already increased the number of kiddos that we've seen from 2023 to 2024 by 50%. This is in addition to that. So we've seen an additional 58.62% kiddos. Primarily, we're seeing child sexual assault, followed by child endangerment, child physical abuse, domestic violence, and human trafficking. And because of your support, we were able to meet this increased need and also receive a higher allocation from the state for the 2026 fiscal year. Some wins that we've had at the legislative level this year is number one, SB 24. This passed unanimously and was signed into law in March of 2025. This is a huge win because it's a law in the state of Utah against child torture. If you can believe, we've never actually had a law against child torture in the state of Utah. This not only covers that, but it provides a mandated 10-year prison sentence and inclusion in the offender registry. This is really important because if our kiddos are abused or tortured, let's say at age 3, prior to this SB 24 passing, the recommended sentencing for an offender, for a first-time offender, was actually probation. So they would go right back into the home of the child that they had tortured. Now with a 10-year prison mandate, let's say if the child was tortured at age 7, the caregiver won't return to the child till the child's 17, which gives that child a standing chance to stand up against their perpetrator. So this was a really successful win for us this year. Another successful win was SB 41. This bill was defeated, which was exactly what we wanted. It's a really big deal because it would have made Utah Sex Offender Registry easier to navigate for offenders. And by stopping it, we avoided making our state more attractive to sexual predators. Some community engagement that we did this year is I held an open house featuring Dr. Fernando Rivero. He's an expert in human trafficking, and we utilize this opportunity to increase community knowledge around human trafficking. We're not only seeing this statewide, but we're also seeing it here locally. We held a really fun event called Chalk the Walk, where we would just raise community awareness about child abuse and open dialogue regarding some of the issues our community is facing. We participated in Youth Voices Speak Out. This is a powerful event that highlights students, and it requires them to do research about mental health projects. It's a powerful way for us to get connected and involved with the high school and junior highs. I brought in expert Corey Jewel Jensen. So she spent the last 35 years training sex offenders under polygraph or treating sex offenders under polygraph. She helped educate the community about what we really need to look for when it comes to perpetration in our youth and how better to keep them protected. I also funded and helped organize community awareness by bringing in Prevent Child Abuse Utah to the HMK. By bringing them in, they taught body safety lessons to all of our students at HMK. Also, in June of this year, I had the opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. and advocate on a federal level. One of the opportunities I had is I was able to meet with Senator Curtis, Representative Malloy, Representative Owens, Representative Kennedy, and Senator Lee's staff about the Crime Victims Stabilization Act. This is a bill that temporarily takes leftover False Claim Act dollars. These are non-taxable funds, but it takes these funds and replenishes the crime victims funds. The crime victims fund is really important because those funds help our victims if they've incurred medical debt or they need to seek out therapy. Those funds help pay so that they can be on a path to healing and resistance. So we spoke to Congress about that. We also spoke with Congress about the Victims of Child Abuse Act. We've previously been funded at a $41 million level federally. We asked for funding to increase to the $50 million level. And then we spent a lot of time just thanking Congress for their support of the work that we do at the Children's Justice Centers. Some of our system improvements that we've done is Grant County was one of the first 2 CJCs in the state to sign on to military MOUs. Our military MOUs provide enhanced service to our military families. I worked with community partners to create Grand County's first ever sexual assault response team manuals. This helps streamline our services and make sure that our survivors of sexual assault receive consistent care. We've enhanced our collaboration by working with DCFS and law enforcement to review all incoming cases. We have a weekly meeting where we meet together to make sure that every case that has been sent into law enforcement or DCFS is being seen through the center. This can account for some of our increases in our numbers that we're seeing through the CJC. I've also been working on my master's in social work, maintaining a 4.0 GPA to ensure that I'm providing our community with the highest level of service possible. With deepest gratitude to the County Commission and thanks to the state and our wonderful community, we're thrilled to have secured a new forever home for the Children's Justice Center to better serve our community's children. I'm also grateful to share that I was able to secure an additional $70,000 from the state to cover the necessary remodels at the new CJC. I was able to secure 3 different bids, and of the 3 bids, M2 came in the lowest at $72,000. This covers costs of things like ADA bathroom replacement and the necessary upgrades in the medical center to make the new building a working building. The state came in with the $70,000, and then to complete the remodels, the small remaining costs can be covered with our nonprofit Friends of the Grand County funds. So there doesn't have to be any additional ask from the citizens of Grant County. I've also secured a grant in the amount of $87,500 to build out a mental health program for our first responders. Serving kiddos in really abusive situations can be incredibly difficult. Sorry. And it's really important to take care of the people that are taking care of them. And so I built out a mental health program, and we brought in professionals to help support these people that are doing this difficult work. This mental health program not only supports our MDT, but it supports their family and to ensure that they're all well and taken care of. So I'm really excited about this program. And this year I was named the chair of the 7th District Victims' Rights Committee. As chair, I help ensure that we have collaboration across all of 7th districts. We look out for the rights of our victims and ensure that we're meeting state statutory mandates and making sure that their voices are heard and that when they interface with the justice system, they're getting the best experience possible. I was also named the vice chair for the Utah CJC Standing Board. I'll serve in this role for the next 2 years, and then I'll move into the chair position for the following 2 years. And so I appreciate your confidence in me because it's elevating our voice at the state level. And I just want to finish off touching on our Friends of the CJC, which is our nonprofit. And we live because of you, our community. We have been so overwhelmed in the best way by the love and support this amazing community continues to show. Because you show up, we get to keep showing up for the youth who need it most. And let's see if I can get this play. Okay. If not, that's okay. It was just a showcase of some of the work that Friends of the CJC has been doing. And then I just want to follow up, if I can get this to come through, is thank you to commissioners for believing in this work and believing in me. Your support has made